Today we are going to talk about the rule of thirds. My name is Tarek, and thank you for watching this. Today we're going to be talking about the rule of thirds. This, I think, is one of the most important composition techniques that beginner photographers and professionals use. So this video is for beginners. I'm going to break down the rule of thirds and explain it in very simple terms and talk about how you can understand it. Then I'm also going to take some pictures with different cameras and show what those pictures look like applying the rule of thirds. So while I said this is for beginner photographers, there are experienced photographers, professionals, enthusiasts, amateurs, I don't even know what to call it, everybody. So that may really like the subject and may be interested in watching this. Perhaps just to forward it along to a family or friend who's interested in learning photography. So I'm going to get started. So the first thing about photography is lighting. I'm not going to be covering lighting in here. I'm just going to give a broad brush of saying use the best available light you have, because for beginners, you're not really going to be able to control that. I'm in a studio setting. I have a light facing me. I have a light above. I've created a couple of lights and a little mood here. This is not something you always are able to do. So whether you're a kid, a grandparent, a friend, brother, sister, whoever, if somebody forwarded this to you, they care about you. So they just want to help you learn photography. I've helped several friends and taught photography one-on-one and in some smaller group sessions. And I really want to share this with everybody. I have a lot of photographer friends who try to teach other people that are close to them. So I'm making this video for all of us so we can share it. So the rule of thirds is a composition technique. There are two that I think are important. I'm just going to be talking about this one today. So basically, whether you have a cell phone camera or a professional camera, this is a Canon 5D Mark III with a 50mm lens. I will be using it. Or a point and shoot camera, or you don't even have a camera. I'm going to teach you how you can apply the rule of thirds to improve your photography, even if you don't have a camera. Because the important part of learning it is seeing and practicing. And you can watch the video and this will give you some ideas, but just go out and practice. Even with this video, while you're watching, you can practice. And I'm going to show you, and this is fun. And I bet if there are any kids watching this, they are going to be doing this. So I challenge the adults to try this with me. So let's imagine we don't have a camera right now and we want to practice this as we're doing it. So what you're going to do is you're going to open both hands, and yeah, you're going to place them by your ears, right? Okay, like you're making faces. Drop one hand and turn to your side, and now just keep your thumb where it is and bring your finger in front of you. Where your finger is right here, just put your other hand right next to it, okay? All right, now bring both hands here, and now turn and open your thumbs, and this distance in front of your face, about one hand length, is equivalent to this 50mm 1.2 very expensive professional lens. So you don't need this. You can work with this. So this is going to be our little picture frame right in front of our faces, okay? So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what it is right now, and then we're going to go and look at what some pictures look like, and then I'll explain it a little bit deeper and why it actually works. So let's get right to the practical. So on this board, I drew up basically an empty camera view. So here's, you turn on your camera and it's empty. And you're going to take a picture of subject. Maybe it's a ball. And you place the ball in the middle of the view frame. And maybe you take your picture. That's what we may normally do. Now, with the rule of thirds, imagine before you take the picture that you're drawing a grid of two vertical lines. These are the up and down lines, and two horizontal lines, the side to side lines, in your viewfinder. And your ball is still there. It's still in the center, right? Okay, there. Now, move your camera, your viewfinder, so that the ball is now a little bit off center, and place it about where a couple of those lines intersect. That is using the rule of thirds. Basically, where two lines intersect, meaning where two lines cross, is this composition technique. Now, which lines do you use? It can be any of the four crossing lines. So it can be this one here, which is number 1. That's just my arbitrary number. Or it can be the second one, or the third one, the bottom lines where they're crossing on this side or on the other side. And then imagine that those lines go away, and now look at this image. Your subject, this ball, is a little bit off center, right? That's using the rule of thirds. Then you take that picture. This picture will look more interesting than the one that is centered. It might sound a little odd, but it works. It really works. And which of the four do you use? Is there a right one? Is there a wrong one? No, there isn't. Whichever one looks better to you. So just try it. Take the picture. And if you want to try one of the other intersections, move the camera again, take the picture again. You can take 4 pictures, and then you can look at them later. Later, when you're looking at the pictures, you might find which one you like better. And if you find you like one better than the other, that's where you're building your experience, and that's important. So I wanted to show that. The other thing is these other pictures here are with the grid gone. So we went from the ball being centered to a little bit off center, just a little bit, not too far off. It's not at the edge, it's not at the bottom, it hasn't fallen off the frame. And those pictures will look more interesting, and you'll start to enjoy them. So you can use a cell phone camera. You can use your hands to just imagine this and move them around. And you can use a digital SLR, a mirrorless camera, a point and shoot, whatever you have. The best camera to use is the camera you have. That's the best camera. And if you don't have a camera and you want to practice this, use your hands. If you're using your hands, you want to have fun, say click when you take the picture. I bet the kids will do this. Adults, you can do it too. We can have fun, seriously. This was the technique that got me interested in photography when I was a teenager, and I apply it to almost every picture I take. I use it in about 80 to 90% of the pictures I actually take in one form or another. So I'm going to go and show you these other pictures I try to draw. I'm not a big artist as far as drawing goes, but this is supposed to be a tree. I hope it looks like a tree. And it is not in the center. It's a little bit off center. But if you have imaginary grid lines, it is on one of those vertical lines on the side. And the foreground is about where one of the horizontal or flat lines would be at the bottom. Here's a picture. This is supposed to be a mountain and blue sky. So here, the mountain peaks are at the top of where these cross points are, like where this ball is or this ball. And the foreground, where the green grass is where the bottom line is. So it can be where the two cross points are, or it can be when you're taking landscapes where one of the top lines or the bottom lines are. So this is basically the rule of thirds. That's it. And the way to make it part of your photography is to go out there and take pictures. Now, I hope while you've been watching, you've been curious enough to put your little hand camera out and perhaps move it around and just place wherever you're seeing me a little bit off center. I'm kind of centered in here. I know that. So that's the rule of thirds. I'm really excited about this technique. It has changed my photography, and it was so simple once I learned it. But this is where the creativity came in for me. It didn't start with photographers. It started with artists, painters, long ago, and it continues. So I hope that this has been exciting for you. And when we look at some of the pictures I'm going to take with a variety of cameras, that you find it interesting. So I hope to use a cell phone camera, because many times I just have a cell phone camera with me, and this is the main technique I can apply. I'll try and use a point and shoot camera because sometimes I travel light and I'll have a point and shoot camera with me. Other times I'll have a digital SLR like this Canon 5D with this really nice lens, or one of my newest cameras, which is the Hasselblad 907X. And if you're a beginner and you haven't heard of the camera, don't worry, a lot of people haven't. But if you're into photography, you might have heard of it. And you might be watching this because I've made other videos about that camera, and I really enjoy it. So if you're using the rule of thirds, and you've got good lighting, and there's a few other techniques of the things that you can basically control, even if you don't have the advanced controls on the camera, you can get good pictures. So now we're going to go and look at some pictures from these various cameras, and I'm going to mix them up as I show the different pictures. What I want everybody to focus on in looking at these pictures is imagine that grid for every one of those pictures. Imagine these grid lines and look for where the subject is. Don't worry so much about the lighting in this one. Don't worry so much about, is it artistic? Is it the best subject? I'm going to use simple subjects because I just want the placement for you so you can see how this works, and for you to imagine which area in those rules or centered looks interesting to you for these pictures. I find many times more than one works for me, and it's through experience. I've developed an intuition on which one I might use, but I enjoy just looking through the camera and trying to decide. And many times when I take a picture, I will have my camera up and I will move it around a little bit. I'll move it around just a little so I can frame that subject in those different cross points. And then I just take a little time and decide, okay, I think I like this one. I think I'll take this picture. And sometimes I don't even have a camera, but I see an interesting subject and I don't even, maybe my cell phone is out of power. What do? The hand camera, right here. You've seen Hollywood producers and directors do this, and sometimes with a very expensive little lens, and they are moving along like this. They are imagining the scene. You know, do they want to dolly, truck, tilt, all these cinematic terms? They want to get that visual. This is as old as it gets, and it works. So I hope by now, whether you just thought this was a silly exercise and you just went along with it, if you're a beginner, if you're experienced and you've passed this on to somebody, thank you for doing that. If you're an experienced photographer and you are playing along, hats off to you. If you're a kid and you've already practiced this and you've grabbed your cell phone or something and you've taken a picture of your brother or sister or parents, that's great. If you're a grandparent and you're excited about using this, I am so happy that that's why I made this. I love photography, and of the composition techniques, this is my favorite. This is the first tip I teach everybody. This is more important than all the technical other aspects of photography, in my opinion. Observing lighting is the most important thing, so just use the best light you have. But when it comes to things that are in your control, controlling where you place the subject is almost always going to be in your control, and you have that creative eye and start to use this and just make your photography yours. So now I'm going to explain why the rule of thirds works. Why do we have this rule? What's interesting about it? I hope the kids are already off taking pictures right now, and if they come back to this video, great. So why does it work? Our eyes are see in 3 dimensions. We have 2 eyes, and with them we can have a sense of depth perception. But when we look at a picture, when we look at a flat piece of paper, this is in 3 dimensions. This is flat. This is 2 dimensions. When you look at somebody, you tend to look right at them if it's within your culture's norms to make eye contact, and that's okay. Or when you're looking at something, you look right at it. And our eyes, the angle of view from our eyes out is about the same as a 50mm lens. This is a full frame sensor. Don't worry what that means if you don't know. But it's close to about what our eyes see. What's in focus from about here to there, and there, from there to there. I took this camera, I looked through it, I marked things on the wall and the closet door at the distance I was at, and then I placed my hands and I figured out what would be the best way to explain to everybody how you get that perspective of about a 50mm lens. So don't worry about zooms, don't worry about wide angles. So I'm filming this video on a Sony vlogging camera, a ZV-1. This is about 4 feet away from me, so it's about 1 meter and 30 centimeters away from me. For the 50mm lens, to get the same sort of natural view that your eyes get, I had to be twice as far. So I had to be about 7 feet away to see about what you are seeing on the screen here, approximately 7 feet. So that's going to be about 210 centimeters, so 2 meters and 30 centimeters away to get the same perspective that you're seeing here if it was filmed on a 50mm lens, further away to get the same view rather than the closer lens. So if that didn't make sense, that's okay. So I only said half of the explanation, so here's the other half. Okay, so I said we have 2 eyes, and because of that we can see in 3 dimensions. We can get a sense of space. You know, I'm closer to this. This is side by side. Now you see my hand coming closer. Now it's further away. But when we are looking at something flat, whether that is video or a picture, we don't have that depth perception that our eyes and our mind are used to. So when you place the subject in the grid off center a little bit, somehow in our minds there's a little sense of motion that happens before we get to seeing something over here. It triggers something in our minds where we have a sense that it's not flat, it's not just two-dimensional. Our eyes wander a little bit on that picture, and that creates a natural feeling. We get it. We subconsciously understand this has a feeling of being more natural when it's on those grid lines. It has a feeling of being more natural. It is still two-dimensional. There are other techniques of leading lines and some others, shapes, colors, textures, shaping with light that professionals may take advantage of instead to create that sense of depth, and then also the lenses they choose. But regardless of those things, just placing the subject a little off center, not too far, that's where those lines come in place to keep us within it. You can very quickly go to shifting how you experience your photography. And if you are an experienced photographer, you probably have some of your favorite intersections for your pictures. And feel free to comment below and share what those are. And if you have them, have you tried just doing a photo shoot lately with trying some of the other intersections, or maybe to a fifth for your landscapes? So if you practice one technique deliberately with the camera that you have, that's the best camera in the world, it's the camera that you have, and then when you have another camera that might be better, then that's fine. But if I want to take a picture and I don't have one of these cameras and I have my cell phone camera and I get the picture, that picture is the best I can have, and I'm grateful for it. So there are other things that might look different in the images of lighting, aperture, shutter speed, all these things that photographers get into. But for this exercise and the pictures I'm going to show here, I just want everybody to look at where their objects are placed in that grid. Where are they? And do they look more pleasing to you? So that's the purpose of this video, and that's what I want people to look at. The quality of the different cameras, it might be evident and might not be. I know with good lighting and the rule of thirds and almost nothing else, I can get a good picture of several subjects. I know with poor lighting or even good lighting and without the rule of thirds, with my best camera, that picture isn't going to be as good. There may be other qualities that may be interesting, but I welcome the challenge from others to try that out. So if the quality of colors and other things look different from the different cameras, don't worry about it. Just where are they placed? And this is my first tip of compositions, in compositions in photography. This is the very first tip I want everybody to try. By doing this, you can get excited about the pictures that you're taking, and then if you're interested, then you can go further and start to get into some of the technical things that can be fun, and take this experience further for you. There's a very technical approach to photography that focuses on all these other aspects, and those are great, but that only works for a few people. I think the most important thing for everybody starting is just to be excited about the photography that you are doing and that you have. And I think the rule of thirds makes photography so accessible to everybody. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it was enjoyable. I hope my professional friends and experienced photographers have passed this on to somebody they care about that's been interested in learning photography. You can watch this video if somebody sent it to you, and if they're an experienced photographer, go ahead and watch it, try a few things, then reach out to them and say, hey, I tried this and this is what happened. Ask them some questions. You can comment below. But if someone is there that you have a direct relationship with, that you can talk to, they're probably going to be able to help you more directly than I might be able to in the comments. But thank you for watching this. If you like this and enjoy it, please subscribe. Please click the like button, notifications if you want to find out when I make other videos. I'm going to continue to just enjoy my photography. I'm going to focus on other subjects, but I'm going to make another one on the second tip that I find exciting, and I will reference this video when I do that. I just didn't want to take all of it on in one video because I thought that would be too much for everybody, and I want you to enjoy experiencing your photography, applying the rule of thirds before getting to that next tip. And when you combine this and the other thing, then you might want to get another camera, or you may just want to take more pictures and use your pictures for other things in your life. So photography is a deep passion of mine. I love the art form, love sharing it with other people. I love hearing from other people. I've been excited to hear from people around the world since I started making these videos, and it's just a great community of people, creators, in a wide range from professionals to enthusiasts to beginners. So in this video, I started practice making a few notes, so I don't know if this will show, but basically this is the video, the rule of thirds, the goal, explain the rule of thirds, how to do it, draw out those grids that I showed, and move the objects around. And then a few notes for the photo shoot, and I was trying to decide on what ideas might work and which cameras, and I just decided I should try to use the cell phone camera, point and shoot, the digital SLR, the Hasselblad, and then I made a few talking points. Realized I really wanted to focus this for beginners, cover the techniques, the advantages, but really get right into the excitement and how to apply it without all the complicated stuff on why does it work. Just explain the grid, move things around, then explain it a little bit, why it works, the whole 3 dimensions, 2 dimensions thing. A little note on making the grid, how to compose it, drawing the grid out. I did plan the tree and the mountain here. That was, I thought about that. I mean, like, you know, I'm not Bob Ross, but you know, I did it. Oh yes, and the thing is, practice. You have to practice. Practice is how you get it. It's fun watching videos, but you got to practice. So so I like the little hand camera thing. Hope everybody's doing that. This is a zoom, wide angle, wide angle, all perspective, zoom. Okay, just goofing around. Okay, so I obviously had fun making this, so thanks everybody. See you next time.